Hi everyone and welcome to Edolio's YouTube channel. In this video, we'll cover the top 5 mathematical formulas that everyone should know in Excel. Be it a beginner, intermediate or even an advanced user, you have to know these 5 mathematical formulas. Now let's start with the simplest and the basic formulas of all, the sum formula. So you can see we have some data here on the sheet. We have different products and the sales of these different products. Now what we want to do is we want to calculate what is the total sales that we have achieved. Now one way is to put an equals to, select B2 plus B3 plus B4, so on and so forth. Now this is a tedious and a manual way, right? The better way is to use the sum formula. So let's do that. We're going to type equals to SUM, open the bracket. Now one way is to select this cell, B2, comma, B3, B4, so on and so forth. But again, a tedious work. So we'll select this entire range from B2 to B7, close the bracket, hit enter. And now you can see Excel has calculated the total sales across all these products. And that's how you use the sum formula. Now let's go to the second top formula that you need to know, which is the sum product formula. Now the sum product formula returns the sum of products of corresponding ranges. Confused, right? Let's see this with the help of this example and you will understand what this formula does. Here we have product as laptops, there is the price and there is units sold, then we have speakers, price and units sold, and so on and so forth. So we essentially have prices of all the different products and we have the units sold of each of these products. So if I were to calculate what is the total sales that we have achieved, what we'll have to do is first we'll have to multiply the price by units sold for each of these products and then add all of them up. Now one way is, of course, you can come here to 500 into 5, which is B2 into C2, drag this down and then add all of these value up. So that's one way to go about it. The other and a quicker way is to use the sum product formula. So I'm going to come here to the total sales cell, which is cell P9. I'm going to put equals to sum product. Now here, I'm going to select first this range, which is B2 to B7. That's the first range which has the price column. I'm going to put a comma and now I'm going to select the second range, which is C2 to C7, which has the units. I'm going to close the bracket up, hit enter, and now you can see the total sales is 13,500. So what Excel did is Excel multiplied each of these values and then added all of them together to give us this particular figure. Now let's jump into the third top mathematical formula, which is the average formula. Now to show you how this works, we have some sample data of marks. So let's say there's a student and we have the student's marks in English, physics, chemistry, and maths. And what we want to do is we want to calculate what is the average marks the student has gotten across these 4 subjects. So to use this, again, equals to average, open the bracket, and here again we can do B2, B3, so on and so forth, or the quicker and the best way is to select this entire range, close the bracket and hit enter. And we've got the average marks, which is 86. So we can say this student's average marks across all of these 4 subjects are 86. And that's how you use average. Now let's jump into the 4th mathematical formula, which is the count formula. Now we use count formula whenever we want to count the number of entries or count the number of cells in Excel. So imagine you have order data, right? So you have order ID, you have date, you have product, you have order amount, so on and so forth. Now in this example, the data is quite small. So you can manually count and figure out how many orders you have received. But let's imagine if you have hundreds or thousands of these orders, how would you do this? You can't manually keep counting it. So for this, we would use the count mathematical formula, which is we're going to count the number of cells from this data set. So I'm going to come here, put an equals to, put count. Now count formula has multiple variations. There is count, count A, count blank, count if, so and so forth. We're not going to cover all of them. We'll cover them separately in another video. But for now, we're just going to use the simple count formula. So count, open the bracket, select this entire range, close the bracket and hit enter. As you can see, Excel just counted that there are total 10 orders in this data set. Just one quick tip, whenever you're using the count function, just make sure that you are counting cells which has a numerical value. If you want to count cell which has the text value or alphanumeric value, you use count A. So for example, if I use count and select this range and close the bracket, you would see it's 0. It's not the fault of the count formula, but for counting alphanumeric values, you need to use count A. So I'm going to show you that quickly. So equals to count A, open the bracket, select this range, close the bracket, hit enter. And now you can see it's 10. So that's just one thing to keep in mind whenever you're using the count formula. Now let's go to the next mathematical formula, which is the round formula. As the name suggests, we use the formula to round the numerical values in Excel. So as you can see in this example, I have different figures. Some have 1 decimal point, some have 3, and some have 2. So let's see how the round formula works. Equals to round, open the bracket. Now there are two arguments in this formula, number and number of digits. The number is of course the value that you want to round, and number of digits is essentially how many decimal places you want. So let me show you a few cases. So we'll just select B2 and I'm going to put number digits as 0, which means I'm telling Excel that round this particular value to 0 decimal places. So close the bracket, hit enter, and now you can see we are getting the figure 10,000. If I come here and let's say put just 1 and hit enter, again we get nothing. Why? Because one decimal value in this case is 10,000.0. Now if I edit and put 2, then you can see it is showing me up to 2 decimal values from this example. Let's come here and try this out. So let's do round, comma, I'm going to just do 0 and see how the value changes. Now what Excel has done is Excel has technically rounded this up. So let's say if you have 0.5 and above, it is going to be rounded upwards. If it is 0.4 and below, it's going to be rounded downwards, right? So for example, if I did this, you would see 12,000, but if I made it 5, you would see 12,001, right? Now in this case, let's say I'm going to use the round formula and I only want to see up to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to put 2, close the bracket, hit enter. And now you can see what Excel has done is Excel is just showing us up to 2 decimal places, but it has rounded. So 0.75 has become 0.76. So this is how you play around with the round formula with the number digits. Now there are a couple of more round formulas, round up and round down. We're not going to cover it in this video. We'll make a separate video for that, but that's how generally round formula works. Let's do that for the rest of the values quickly. Yeah. Now wait, don't go anywhere. I'm going to show you 2 more bonus mathematical formulas that you should definitely know. And these 2 formulas are max and min. Now let's say you have some data sets which has numbers. It could be marks, it could be sales, it could be quantity, it could be anything numerical. And let's say you want to find what is the highest value from that data range and what is the lowest value. Meaning you're trying to find the maximum value and the minimum value. So in this example, I have different students and I have marks of each of these students. Now, of course, this data is small, so you can quickly visually see the answer. But of course, if you have hundreds and thousands of rows, you need a formula to do the heavy lifting. Now, if I want to find what's the highest score or the maximum score, I'm going to use the max formula. So equals to max, open the bracket, select this entire range, close the bracket, hit enter. And now we can see that the maximum value from this data range is 95. Now for lowest score or minimum score, as you guessed it right, we're going to use equals to min, which stands for minimum. We're going to select this, close the bracket, hit enter, and done. So this is how you use maximum and minimum formula in Excel. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to learn more detailed advanced formulas, if formulas, vlookup, hlookup, xlookup, pivot tables, pivot charts, macro dashboards, and much more, do check out our advanced Excel course. The link is in the description below. And before you go, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe to our channel because it means a lot and will motivate us to keep making more such videos. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next video.